Yeah, hey guys. So, as we kind of covered yesterday, we talked about some of the use cases of the quarantine, as well as how to potentially merge records, resolve records, etc., to something that's already in the quarantine with respect to a golden record. So, today, what I kind of wanted to cover is setting up a second source. So, this is a very, very typical use case of MDM where you have multiple sources constantly syncing records, whether they're create record updates, just the general update, as well as kind of that push-pull concept we talked about within MDM. So just to kind of get that started, what I wanted to do today is set up another source, essentially import from it, and then just push a record or two so we have both channels synced up. So first things first, let's go back to sources. So we already have a NetSuite source. Another arbitrary example is Salesforce. So I'm just going to set up Salesforce SF. Great. So I have this source created. If I go to my repository and I'm going to go to my employee model that we created, I'm just going to attach that source that we created. Salesforce, I'm going to allow it to do both. The rest defaulted is fine. And remember, we have this, essentially this circle, nothing's going on with it. Blue implies initial load, and then green implies that you're good to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another Boomi process. So going to go to integration. So here. And then just to make this easy for us, this is NetSuite, so I'm just going to call it NetSuite. And then I'm going to create a new operation called Salesforce. So let's delete this and let's add, let's call it Salesforce. I'm just going to enable initial load as we did previously with this. So it's going to get into this blue state. Just wait for this to finish. Great. So let's import using that same connection that we set up. Just sanity check. Great. We got the right connection. Source is going to be Salesforce. So I just named it SF. Operation complete. And here's our employee. Awesome. So that's finished. And now that we're in that initial load state, let's just create a brand new record. So let's name it 6. Great. So I just created a brand new unique record that will like essentially propagate those channels that we talked about, and it'll create that record on the source that we specified. So let's just run this. And as I've talked about before with initial load, you don't necessarily need to use that source. I'm just using an arbitrary message shape. What we see a lot of customers do is put all of their records into a CSV file. So let's say for Salesforce or something of that sort, and then they'll pull it from a disk and then they'll insert all of their records into MDM just because it makes it easier from mapping logic and stuff like that. And then from there, they'll use their Salesforce source. So we got green. If we go back to our repository, still under initial load, and let's see. Here's our record that we just created. So as you can see, we have an established source from Salesforce, and NetSuite's still pending. We'll talk about that next time. But as you can see, the record is created. And just for this arbitrary example, I can just stop syncing sources. So let's finish initial load. And great, now we have two set up sources for the employee model. All right, sounds good, guys. Have a nice day. Bye.